Have you ever been in a fight with your partner and thought, why did that blow up so fast? Or maybe you were just trying to calm things down and somehow it made things 10 times worse. Here's the truth. If your partner has trauma in their past, the way you fight matters. See, a lot of the normal things we do in arguments, the things we think are helpful, can actually pour gasoline on the fire when there's trauma involved. And I get it. You're not trying to make it worse, you're trying to fix it. But if you don't understand what's really happening in those heated moments, you can unintentionally trigger their trauma responses and end up feeling like every argument turns into World War III. Today, I'm breaking down 3 common mistakes most people make in fights. Mistakes that can turn a small conflict into an emotional explosion. And I'm going to show you what to do instead so you can de-escalate faster, reconnect sooner, and finally stop feeling like you're stuck in the same fight on repeat. Let's dive in to mistake number 1. And I'll bet you recognize yourself in this one. Okay, mistake number 1, pushing for resolution in the heat of the moment. This one is huge. If you're anything like I used to be, the second an argument started, I had to fix it right then and there. I couldn't stand sitting in the tension. My brain was screaming, we can't leave this unresolved. It'll only get worse. So I'd push. I'd keep talking. I'd chase my husband from room to room if I had to. And here's the problem when your partner is in a trauma response: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, their brain is no longer operating from logic. They're in survival mode. And when you keep pushing for resolution, what you think of is working it out, they experience pressure and threat. I'll never forget one night, my husband walked out of the room mid-conversation, and I followed him down the hall, talking faster and louder, saying, we can't just leave this hanging. But here's what I didn't realize. Every word I spoke, every step I took closer was making him shut down more. Because when someone's nervous system is dysregulated, they literally cannot access the part of the brain that handles reasoning and problem solving. So pushing for resolution isn't just unhelpful, it's impossible in that moment. It's like trying to pour water into a closed bottle. Nothing is getting in until the lid is off. And here's the part we often forget. This goes both ways, because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, my husband is the one who pushes for conversations when he's dysregulated. And sometimes he does think he's ready to talk, but you're not. And that's just as important to honor. So it's a completely okay to say, I'm still processing everything. Let's just come back to this tomorrow. And that is not stonewalling. That's protecting the space you both need to come back regulated. And what to do instead? Learn to pause. When you feel the urge to fix it now, to start apologizing, to try to make it better, try say something like, this matters to me, but we're not in a good space to solve it right now. Let's take a break and come back. Or if you're the one who needs more time, I am just not ready to finish this conversation yet. Let's revisit it when we've both had a chance to breathe. This isn't about avoiding the issue. It's about creating the conditions where you can actually have that conversation without blowing everything up. Because when you push for resolution too soon, you're not calming the storm. You're standing outside yelling at the thunder. All right, let's talk about mistake number 2. And this one is sneaky because it feels so personal. Mistake number 2, taking their trauma responses personally. This one is sneaky because when your partner shuts down, snaps at you, or gets defensive, it feels very personal. You hear the sharp tone, you see them pull away, and your brain fills in the blanks. He doesn't care. He's mad at me. I did something wrong. And once we feel attacked, what do? We defend. We explain harder, we get louder, or we shut down right back. And here's the thing that most people don't realize. When your partner is triggered, they're not actually reacting to you. They're reacting to a memory, a feeling, a flashback their body hasn't even told their brain about yet. And in that moment, you're not the enemy, but their nervous system thinks you are. And I used to take my husband's shutdowns so personally. If he got quiet, I'd spiral. Why won't he talk to me? Is he mad at me? Is he mad at the kids? Did I say something wrong? But when I learned about trauma, I realized that his silence wasn't about me. It was his body's way of saying, I don't feel safe right now. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't take it personally, but here's the reality. If you have a knot in your stomach after a fight, if you cancel your plans, if you stew over every word, or you start wondering if you're crazy, you are taking it personally. And here's the truth you need to hear. The responses you're seeing aren't really about you, but they're also not even fully about your husband. They're coming from what happened to him. I want you to check out my latest video, my last video, Nervous System 101, Why Conflict Feels Impossible, if you want to go deeper on this. But here's the key point. You need to learn how to put your shield up. Let the blame, the shame, the guilt trips fall to the ground because they are trauma responses, not proof you did something wrong. And here's why this matters. When you take their trauma responses personally, you can unintentionally escalate it because your nervous system then joins the fight. Two trigger people, that equals no chance for calm. And what do you do instead? You practice curiosity. Instead of thinking, he's shutting me out, shift to, wow, something just got triggered for him. And respond with something simple like, I see you're overwhelmed. I'm here when you're ready to talk. That tiny shift from taking it as an attack to seeing it as a trauma response, it changes everything. And remember, just like in mistake number one, this goes both ways. If you get triggered and your partner reacts defensively, they might take it personally too. And that's where you can use language like, I'm not upset with you. I'm just feeling really overwhelmed right now. And it helps reassure their nervous system and yours. Because when you stop taking every shutdown, snap, or sigh personally, you stop feeding the spiral and you start creating space for connection instead of conflict. Which brings me to mistake number 3. And I'll be honest, this one was my specialty for years. Mistake number 3 is over-explaining or over-talking. And this one hits close to home for me because I used to do it all the time. The second there was tension, I'd go into this almost lawyer mode, the TED Talk version of my feelings, every detail, every reason, every emotion. I'd use the I statements. And I thought, if I can just explain it all the right way, he'll get it. He'll calm down and we'll fix this. But here's the hard truth. Once your partner is triggered, nothing you say is going to lead to resolution. In that moment, the brain is convinced there's danger. The nervous system is screaming, this isn't safe. And when we start over explaining, it doesn't calm them down, you guys. It actually feels like confirmation to them. And if you're in this cycle, you know what I'm talking about. It's almost like we're saying, yes, you were right. There was danger. Look how hard I'm working to justify myself. Look at all these words. Clearly, there's something to be afraid of. It's not logical, but to their survival brain, more words equals more threat. And here's what needs to happen instead. We have to diffuse, not prove. So think of it like this. When they're triggered, the brain thinks there's a bear in the room. And your job isn't to convince them there isn't, because right now they see the bear. Your job is to step back, let them catch their breath, and let their brain have the space to realize, oh, wait, that wasn't a bear. It was a stump. Because if you stay in the conversation, throwing words, adding explanations, all they see is she's panicked. She's justifying. That means the bear is real. What they need is time, silence, breathing space. So what do you do instead? Use calm, simple statements that end the spiral instead of feeding it. Something like, this matters to me, but I want to come back to it when we're both calm. Or I just need some space right now and I'll be ready to talk when things have settled down. That's it. No 10-minute speech, no emotional PowerPoint presentation, because when you stop over talking, you stop confirming the danger and you give their brain the time to think, the time to look around and say, oh, that wasn't a bear after all. That's where real healing conversations start, when the danger is past and you can both actually hear each other. All right, we've covered all 3 mistakes. So let's wrap this up and bring it home. Let's pull it all together. We talked about the 3 mistakes that make trauma responses worse in fights. Number 1, pushing for resolution in the heat of the moment. Number 2, taking their trauma responses personally. And number 3, over-explaining or over-talking. And here's the thing. None of these mistakes come from a bad place. They all come from wanting things to be better, wanting connection, wanting the fight to end. But here's the truth you might not have heard before. When your partner's trauma response is activated, you can't argue your way back to connection. You know it. You've tried it. You can't fix it in the moment. You can't out-talk the nervous system. And the good news is you don't have to, because once you stop doing these things, you stop pouring gasoline on the fire. Instead, you create space for both of you to calm down, reset, and actually come back to the table ready to solve the problem. So here's your takeaway. Next time you feel the fight heating up, I want you to hear these words in your head. Pause, don't push, don't prove, don't personalize. That's your shield, because when you hold that shield up, the blame, the shame, the guilt trips, they don't have to land on you. They can fall to the ground where they belong because they're not yours to carry. And that's how you start breaking the cycle, not with perfect words, but with the courage to stop the wrong ones. If this resonated with you, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because I've got more videos coming to help you have calmer, better conversations with your partner, even if trauma is in the mix. And hey, drop a comment below and tell me, which one of these 3 mistakes do you catch yourself making the most? I'd love to hear from you. And before you go, I've got something for you. If you've ever felt like you're walking on eggshells and don't know what to say in those heated moments, I've created something that will help. It's called the Better Conversation Script, a simple word-for-word guide you can use to start talking in a way that your partner can actually hear without triggering more shutdowns or blowups. And it's totally free. Just click the link in the description to grab it, because you don't have to figure this out alone. And you don't have to keep having the same fight on repeat. Because here's what I know. When you change the way you show up in these moments, you change the entire fight. And eventually you change the relationship.